What is going on, guys? DBG here, and today we are going to be doing a gameplay with, or it's not gameplay, we're going to be doing a tier list of the best budget players in NBA 2K22 MyTEAM, lads. So these are all the players. I've definitely forgotten at least one. So if your favorite budget player is not on the list, I do apologize, and I'm trying to keep it to under 10,000 MT. There are a few players that I definitely forgot that are under 10,000 MT, and there are a few players that are on this list that are probably over 10,000 MT. I just cannot keep up to date with every single card on the auction house, unfortunately. So if I do forget anyone, just look at a player that you think is a similar level and put them into that tier. I do apologize because it is an inevitability. It is an inevitability, lads, that I managed to mess something up. But anyway, yeah, so now we're going to get onto it. So first up, Aaron Gordon. So Aaron Gordon, as far as budget players go, on a budget player tier list, value is going to be taken into account. I'm going to put him B tier. I think just all around, Aaron Gordon's solid. I don't think he's spectacular by any means. I think he's fine. I think it's hard really to judge him too highly, like, because I know he doesn't do anything that well, but he's not bad at anything either. He's honestly just solid at absolutely everything. He's honestly just solid at everything. So for me, I think that the best place to put him is B tier. Caruso, I think I'm gonna put Caruso in B tier as well. For Caruso's price, he's actually spectacular. Like, for a player as cheap as Alex Caruso, to be this good is genuinely impressive. Like, his defense is spectacular. His shooting's pretty good, but it's just the guy can't create. So I gotta put him B tier. I gotta put him B. Then we got Andrea Bargnani at A tier. So the thing with Bargnani, it's not that Bargnani's a bad player, because he's genuinely not. Bargnani's a really solid player, but he's not brilliant either. It's just when we go to cheap centers, there are some that are better. I think maybe he might get moved down to B tier, but I think at this stage everyone's kind of like, yeah, you know what, Bargnani is solid, albeit not brilliant. So for that reason, I'd say most of you are probably in agreement that this is the correct tier to put him in. Maybe one tier lower. Anthony Simons, I think he's got that long wingspan. He's pretty decent on defense. By the way, also cards that are really easy to get, cards that can be grinded for in less than an hour, are on the list. If you are less than 10,000 P, or you can be grinded for in less than an hour, you're on the list. And that means that all of the moments of the month cards are eligible, except for DeRozan, because you can literally, if you go to quickest route possible, you can get the first pink diamond within 35 minutes. Not even joking. Like, you can get, if you go quickest route, you can get the first pink diamond in 35 minutes. So Anthony Simons, he's going to go C tier. I think just in general, Anthony Simons his release is nice. I kind of like his dribbling. I think his dunk animations are spectacular. His defense just leaves a bit to be desired. Bradley, Avery Bradley's going to go B tier. Mainly because of the price. Like, you're looking at 1,000 MT for this guy. If you use the duo with Paul Pierce, he's actually turns into freaking Gary Payton. He basically turns into Gary Payton with the dynamic duo, which is nuts. The whole thing is, though, is that, like, Paul Pierce is so bad. Like, if Paul Pierce was not a trash can, if that Amethyst Paul Pierce was actually even average as a card, I would have him in A tier, because that dynamic duo will be used by every budget player in the game. Ben Gordon. Now I think Ben's gonna have to, I think Ben might have to go into S tier. Ben Gordon is not that difficult to get. Like, the only difficult thing for Ben, the only thing it takes more than 10 minutes to do, like, I completed everything up to Ben Gordon in 30 minutes. The only thing was the rebounds with Andrew Bogut. Like, I'm still only at 15 rebounds with Bogut, but I literally completed every other thing for Ben Gordon in a couple of minutes. It was just those rebounds are killer, because they're all a multiplayer game. Multiplayer game rebounds are not easy at all. So, I think Ben Gordon, though, he doesn't dunk well. He's only got a 75 dunk, but he's a really good defender. He's a really, really good shooter. His movement is really nice. If you wanted to put this guy one tier lower in A tier, that's fine. I think when it's all said and done, he might go down to A tier. But I'm telling you, for now, I think he deserves a spot in S right now. Kuzi, I'm going to put Kuzi in D. Kuzi's not worthless. He's not brilliant, though. He's really not brilliant. Like, Bob Cousy can move a bit. His jumper is okay. He's a little bit like CP3 with a longer wingspan. That's the best way to describe him. So I'm going to go D tier with him. He's surprisingly not terrible, but he's not great. Bobby Sura, S. S tier for Bob Sura. And you know what? Ben Gordon is probably the third best point guard here, so I'm going to put Ben Gordon into A tier, but Bob Sura, no-brainer, S tier. The guy shoots the ball at an elite rate. The guy moves really well. His defense is pretty decent. Like, he's not like his absolute lockdown defender. You're not going to want him to guard ball. But, I mean, I don't think he's a bad defender. I don't think, like, he's a bad defender at all. So I think that, like, a lot of people are kind of in my opinion, underhyping this guy. A lot of people are, like, talking about this guy like he's not one of the best 5-point guards in the game. And I stand by it. I personally believe that Bob Sura is, no doubt about it, a top 5-point guard in my team. So yeah, Bob Sura, you go in here into S tier. Really good player. Boris Diaw. I mean, Boris Diaw is B, but I'm going to put him A purely because of his dynamic duo. His dynamic duo makes Penny Hardaway probably the best point guard in the game. And for that reason, I think it's a tough one not to put Diaw in there. I like, in terms of actual merit, Boris Diaw is probably B tier. But at the same time, he's really, really good with the duo. And when you've got a duo like his duo, I think it's tough. I think it is tough to completely discount the guy. So I'm going to go A tier for Diaw. I think you might be able to argue him lower, but I'm going to go A tier. Ingram, I'm going to go D tier. Ingram moves quite well. Scotty behind the back, pretty decent release. His jumper is mediocre. His jumper is mediocre at best. So, like, that's the best way I can say it. His defense is bad, though. His defense is bad. Actually, no, Embiid. Ingram can hit. I think the tier is right. I might be underselling him in terms of description, but I do think the tier that he is in is the correct tier. Jennings, worthless. Brandon Jennings dribbles. I'm not even joking. Brandon Jennings dribbles like a big man who is now, like, a big man who has never dribbled the ball in his life. Like, Jennings legitimately cannot move. It's hilarious. Like, he can't move. Jennings will leave you, or Jennings will screw you over so much if you're trying to dribble with him. And like, he was a shifty point guard. Like, pre-ACL injury, he was like one of the more shifty point guards in the NBA. The guy can't move. Like, there is no point guard that moves as bad as Brandon Jennings. Like, he literally runs in slow motion. And if you try to dribble the ball with him, the guy will trip over his own feet. Yeah, he's worthless there. Scal's B tier. Scal's surprisingly good. I stand by that. The Scalabrine is a surprisingly good player. So, Scal's going to hit a lot of jump shots. We all know that. He's like, it's only 10 wins in clutch time to get him, so it's not the longest grind in the world. I mean, you could tell if you're struggling with clutch time, it's actually probably easier to get most of the other cards than to get Scal. But if you're not struggling with clutch time, pretty much everyone's going to get him. But yeah, the problem with Scalabrine is, I mean, he's just not brilliant at anything. He has no weaknesses. His defense is decent. He's got clamps. He's got decent defensive stats, surprisingly enough. So, yeah, I'm going to put Scalabrine in this tier. Again, some people might have him lower. Others might actually have him higher. So, yeah, I think B tier is probably fair for him. Bruce Bowen, at this stage of the game, Bowen's C tier. Like, Bowen does have half clamps. Bowen has got half clamps, which is, in fact, a brilliant badge. So that can be a bit of a problem. Or, sorry, he can be a great defender. His defense is good, but not spectacular, and he will hit wide open jumpers. Problem is, he won't do anything else, really. I think maybe you could argue him a tier higher. But I think when we look at the likes of Aaron Gordon and stuff, I think they're just better cards. I think the likes of Aaron Gordon are just... It's not much, not by much, but I think they are just slightly better than Bowen. Buddy Hield, as far as budget 2 guards go, If you get that Evo buddy healed up, he's S tier. Like, there are not many good budget 2 guards. As in, budget 2 guys that can create. Like, you've got the ones that can't create. Like, you've got your, like, I don't know, even Jaylen Brown, your 3-and-D guys. I think he might be budget, which I didn't put him on the list because I wasn't 100% sure, but I think Wiggins could be considered a budget or for this list. You got those guys. Like, all of those guys do the same thing. They're all going to just play great defense, and they're going to hit wide open shots, where Buddy at least will create. He's the only one that'll do that. Byron Scott. I'm going to put Byron Scott B tier. I think he's worse than Ben Gordon. Maybe A. I think I might just... Oh, that's a tough spot for him. To put him in A tier. Or to put him in a tier other than A. Oh, I don't know. He could be B. He could easily be B. Screw it. We're gonna put him in A. We're gonna put him in A, and we'll see the rest of the list. So Birdman S. Maybe. Like, Birdman has no flaws. Like, Birdman really, I'm being dead serious. Birdman has no flaws whatsoever in game. So, like, if we're looking at Birdman's just at his peak, there's nothing Birdman doesn't do well in my team. Like, he's a shooter. He can handle it. He's flawless. He's absolutely flawless. So it's tough. He's just small-ish at 6'10". And like, 6'10 is not even that small. Oh, I don't know. Birdman. Could he be? He could easily be S tier. Like, he could so easily be S. And maybe I'm underselling him by putting him in this tier. He could easily be S. Chumo Kiki, though. Chumo Kiki's going to go... He's not D tier, he's C tier. Chumo Kiki, no question about it, belongs in C tier. Because, think about Okiki. Okiki can kind of shoot the ball. He's not a bad shooter by any means, but he's got that really high steal rating. And he's got Hall of Fame pickpocket, which is a great badge to have as well. So... He's just small, can only play one position. It is what it is. Clint Capella is an interior who can't shoot. Like, Capella's game overall is very limited. He's 6'10", so he's undersized. He's not that fast. His speed is in the 70s. So, I think the best place to put him is C. I think you could maybe argue the guy in B tier if you like interiors, but I think that's the only... That's the only spot other than C tier that you can really argue him in. We have Garland. So Garland's gonna go. He's very undersized. He's gonna go C tier. Garland's like mini Dame. Like, he is one of those guys that I was surprised at how good he was. Like, Garland can shoot. He can move. He's got Dame release. Like, he's mini Dame Lillard, but he can't dunk. Pretty much. Defensively, he feels almost the same as Dame as well. He's non-dunking Dame. But yeah, let's put him in C. Miles. Oh, I don't know. I love Darius Miles. Like, I was considering running him in my main squad. I think just due to his like player build, I'm gonna have to put him in tier above Barstia. Like, but Miles is gonna have to go into S tier. Just the way it's his player build more than anything. I'm gonna be honest. It's his player build. Like, Darius Miles is a good player, but I understand like why some people aren't going to be that high on Darius Miles. But at the same time, I just really like this card. I think he rebounds way better than he should. His jumper is really good as well. I think his movement is better than it should be. Like, he shouldn't be able to move, but he can. He's not going to move with the ball, but he's going to play like... Basically, he's going to play like a worse version of that. He's going to be like a downgraded version of that Galaxy Opal LeBron James. That's basically what Darius Miles is going to play like. He's going to play like a downgraded version of the Opal LeBron, which is still a pretty damn good card. And this type of list is S tier. So then we have got Dave Bing. I think Dave Bing, he belongs in B. maybe C. Like, Dave Bing's the worst player in B tier, but he would also is better than Garland in my opinion. So it's a tough one because you're either, with Dave Bing, you're either getting worst player in C tier, or you're going best player in B, or sorry, you're either going best player in C tier or worst. You know what, screw it, I've got Anthony Simons in C tier. Let's move Dave Bing down to C tier. But I really like Dave Bing. I think his jumper has now become really, really good. His movement is surprisingly good. And he's got pretty much every badge in the game on silver. So he's one of those weird, like, he came out, he's basically a clone of a Season 2 card. And when you see those guys that are clones of, like, other Seasons cards, that's where you start to see a load of, like, silver and bronze badges. And yeah, like, silver and bronze badges aren't as good as gold or half badges. But at the same time, they're still pretty good. Like, I would much rather see a player with, like, silver clamp, silver interceptor, and silver chef than none of those badges. So that's something that he has. And obviously, movement is very, very good because he is, well, he's one of quick or shifty. He's 6'3", got a big player build. So I think Dave Bing is, he's one of the more underrated cards in the game. In fact, I'm pretty sure I put him in the, like, top 10 most underrated players the last time I made a list, as soon as that release was changed. And while Setshot 4 did hold him back a bit, from base 4 is a really good release. Then we got Ayton. D-Rob Light, no-brainer. No-brainer for DeAndre Ayton. I don't care what you feel about Ayton. The guy's S. Like, he's my starting center. The guy can move. The guy can shoot. He has no full... He's genuinely David Robinson light. If you are a fan of David Robinson, you're going to be a fan of this card here. So, yeah. That's... Like, DeAndre Ayton is probably the most obvious S tier inclusion in this entire list. There's a 0% chance he's going to be put anywhere else. But, yeah, Ayton's a really good card. Then we got DeJounte. DeJounte's going B. I don't think DeJounte's flawless by any means. I think his release is mediocre. He, like, floats through the air and it's quite a slow release. It's a lot better on current than it is on next gen. Those, like, floating release like him and Dinwiddie are way better on current gen. But at the same time, it's not like it's a terrible release either on either gen. It's just if you're open, it's a lot harder to get off on next gen than it is on current gen. Overall, in terms of movement wise, he's meh. Like, he's very, very mediocre. Like, his movement is okay. Like, meh is the only real word that I can use to describe how the guy plays in game. But yeah, I'll give him B tier. He's somewhere in the middle. Dikembe, I mean, he's big. I think that's the only way. It's the only reason you should ever use him is if you just need a giant out there. He's big. There are so many. Like, dude, just get Taco Fall, honestly. I'm going to be honest. If you're looking for Dikembe Mutombo, just get Taco Fall. Taco is going to be better than Dikembe in pretty much every way. Dino Raja. I'll go D tier. Dino's not as bad as people say. It's just when I've got Clay Capella in C tier, I got to put Dino in D tier. Like, it is what it is. Like, Dino is at a similar level to that. He's at a similar level to that Dikembe. And I think it's the best place to put him. I think genuinely it is the best place to put him in D tier. You know, a lot of people might say be higher. Dion Waiters. I'm going to put Dion Waiters in D tier. I don't rate the card at all. I think I might be the only person because I think a lot of people do like Dion Waiters. I don't even mind his release. Like, his release is just the same release as Francis. It's a release. It's released like 116, but it's genuinely the release that used to be called Dion Waiters release. Like, last year, that exact release was called Dion Waiters release. So he's got his what used to be his own signature release, and he's changed it for some reason. But Waiters just in general moves kind of well. He shoots kind of well. He plays very little defense. And like, if you're asking me who I would take, any of these guys or Waiters, I would take these guys over Waiters. Donovan Mitchell at this stage in the game, no, he's as good as Waiters. At this stage in the game, like, why would anyone ever use a 6'1" point guard? I'm just putting it out there. Like, there is no reason why anyone should be using a 6'1" point guard. Not a 6'1", a 6'1" 2 guard. 6'1" player, not a point guard. I mean, using Donovan Mitchell himself at point guard, that Galaxy Opal, I mean, I understand that one. I really do understand that one. That Donovan Mitchell card really is the best in terms of like being a shot creating point guard. But yeah, so he's going to go in there. Draymond S. For his price, Draymond, you're not getting much better than Draymond Green. Like, as far as power forwards go, he gives you pretty much what the best of them give you at a fraction of the price. Like, he's nowhere near as expensive as a lot of like the absolute top tier power forwards. And the difference is that Draymond is cheap. He's going to defend. He's going to shoot. He's going to pass the ball if you need him to pass, which is one of the completely underrated things about him, is that he's got the Pro 3 behind the back. He's got the Scotty behind the back. He's got everything. He's got everything that is needed from a card in this game. Like, I wouldn't... Like, if you have him, there's no reason to ever upgrade the guy. I think he's that good, in my opinion. So yeah, he's going to go into S tier. I'm going to Drazen. I'm going to put Drazen in B tier. I think at this stage of the game, Drazen's fine. Don't get me wrong, Drazen's fine, but I mean, if you're still using Drazen, I think you might struggle a little bit. I think overall, he's by no means the best at anything except shooting. He's going to hit shots. He's going to hit shots at a really high rate because of the release. He's going to hit shots at a really high rate because of like the half range extender badge. And like there was a stage where he was, in my opinion, one of the first players you should buy for clutch time. Thing is though, at times not now. The time for Drazen Petrovic is by no means now, and the time's over. So for me, I think B tier is probably the correct spot for him. If you want to argue A, fair enough. But I think most would, and rightfully so, say that he's a B tier. I don't think, if you're going to say C tier, I think that's just not appreciating what he can do. And what he can do very well is shoot the ball. But does nothing else really. So then we got Boykins. Oh dear lord, he stinks. He's so bad. Like, Earl Boykins is so bad. I get it, you can't even get this guy anymore. And I don't know why anyone would have ever done this card. Why anyone would have ever gotten this card. Because the guy is genuinely useless. Like, he's so bad. It's funny how bad he is. Like, he can't even really move. Like, 2K, when they used to bring out the little guys, like, Earl Boykins is 5'5", if you don't know. And when 2K used to bring out the little guys in my team, like as in the like 5'3", 5'5", 5'7" guys, they used to give them like ridiculous dribble sigs. They used to give them ridiculous stats, ridiculous badges. And the thing is, they didn't even do that with Boykins. They legit did not even do it with Earl Boykins. They just gave Earl Boykins just normal stats for like a card. A release timing on normal. And like no, you can't even give him badges. You can't even give the guy range. You can't even give the guy chef. So if you just wanted to make him a fun troll card, you can't even give him the badges that let him be a fun troll card. Like, oh, he's horrific. He is horrific. But it's funny how bad he was. Like, he's horrific in the way, like, oh my god, I can't believe 2K actually think people are going to be grinding for this card, but he's so bad. Eddie Jones, I'm going to say A still. I still think at this stage in the game in January, 2 months after this card came out, Eddie Jones is an A tier player. The thing with Eddie Jones for me though, is that half interceptor badge is still one of the most overpowered badges in the game. It's still an important badge, and he still does a lot of little things well. Like, he moves quite well on offense. He's not going to like dribble it well, but in terms of running to the basket, he's quite fast. As well as that, as far as shooting and stuff goes, he will hit shots. He really will hit shots, and that's, again, another super important thing, is a player's ability to just put the ball in the basket. It's it's kind of the aim of basketball, is what team can put the ball in the basket the most, and he does it all right. But a lot of people, because he doesn't create well, a lot of people are kind of like, oh, this card sucks. But I don't think he sucks. I don't think he's brilliant. But I think saying that he sucks is definitely undervaluing what he does. He's not an underrated card because everyone kind of knows how he is. I think he's really undervalued in today's game Because people are like, oh, he's 2 months old. What's the point of using them? But if there is ever a situation where you have to use Eddie Jones, yeah, there are better options. If there's a situation where you have to use Eddie Jones, I think he's more than... I think he is more than serviceable. Bledsoe, I'm going to put Bledsoe in A. I think the big problem with Eric Bledsoe, again, is he's just not be able to shoot from range. Like, he's a decent shooter. Like, surprisingly, the guy's a decent shooter. The guy rebounds pretty well, or the guy defends pretty well for a point guard. He moves pretty well. And yeah, it's just, he's like mini Baron Davis and cheap. So I'm going to go A. Mobley. The more I use Mobley, the more I dislike Mobley. Oh, know what it is. Do not know what it is. The more I use him, the more I hate him. So I'm going to go in here with him. I'm going to put the guy in B tier. I think a lot of people are going to argue Mobley should be A tier. And I get that. I do get the Mobley and A tier argument. Because I think just in general, Evan Mobley can be a very good player. But I think Mobley or Gordon, I think Mobley at center gets exposed very easily. And a power forward, give me Aaron Gordon over him. So I'm going to go B tier with him. Franz Wagner, C tier. Not bad by any means. Again, an underrated card, but that doesn't mean he's as good as Aaron Gordon. He's tall though. He is tall at 6'9". He does shoot the ball quite well. And it's weird, like, give me Scala over him. It's close one though between him and Scala. I would take Scalabrine over him. But now overall he's not bad. He's not bad at all. So I'm gonna say C tier. Mikan. Now I'm gonna have to move. I think Birdman's better than Mikan. Birdman's better than Mikan. I'm sorry, I can't believe I'm saying this. Birdman is better than Mikan. Birdman, Ibaka, and DeAndre Ayton are all better than George Mikan. And you guys know how much I love George Mikan. So this pains me. It pains me on a tier list. On a budget player tier list. Not even like a big tier, not even like a tier list with super hyped players and big names. On a freaking budget player tier list, we've had to put George Mikan in A tier. But it's the truth. He's an A tier player. He's not as good as, I think at the power forward position, he's not as good as someone like a Draymond Green or Darius Miles. And I think at center, he's not as good as the guys we have there. He's the best player in A tier. So much better than Bargnani, but I think Birdman's better. And Birdman might even move down. Hal Greer, he's not quite these guys bad, but he's very not good. He's not good. Isaiah Thomas, at this stage of the game, Isaiah Thomas, he's better than Dave Bing. But I think DeJounte is better, and I think Caruso is better. So this is a close one. He's 6'1", so he's very undersized. It's a tough one. It is a tough one. Jarvis Hayes. I'm going to put Jarvis Hayes in C tier as well. He's just a 3-and-D wing. Not a brilliant 3-and-D wing, but he's a 3-and-D wing. He is a 3-and-D wing, so for me, he's like more than good enough to be used. So yeah, we're going to put him in C tier. Jet Terry. Look, at this stage of the game, Jet Terry is this tier. Jet Terry is, he's D tier. Like, he's nowhere near as good as Isaiah Thomas. He's absolutely nowhere close to being as good as Isaiah Thomas. So I find it hard to justify putting him in C tier. Give me Dave Bing so much better than my defense that I think I'd take Dave Bing over him. I think I would take Dave Bing over him without question in this game. So yeah, D tier. Jaylen Brown. I'm gonna go B tier. I think at this stage he probably belongs in B tier in this game. So that's where we're gonna put him. Like, if you have him in a lower tier, I'm cool with that. But I think B tier is probably the right spot to put the guy. And we got this Jaylen Brown, S. You can get him in like 40 minutes. Like, if you really, really put your head down, you can get this guy in 30, 40 minutes. And for me, I think with how quickly you can get him, he without doubt belongs. He without doubt belongs in S. He belongs in S. Jeff Green, A. Like, Jeff Green is not that much worse than Darius Moss. I want to make that very, very clear. Jeff Green is not that much worse than Darius Moss. In game, I played with both of them. They are like, Moss is better, not by that much. So I'd have, for me, I would have Jeff Green. I have to have Jeff Green in A. Like, the way the guy shoots the ball, you don't contest him. Like, if somebody's playing CPU defense and they're not guarding him, and you just chuck the ball to the corner for Jeff Green, he's gonna, every single time he's gonna score, which is mad. Which is absolutely mad. Like, it's gonna be a wide open every time. Joe Smith, I'm gonna put him B tier purely because he's a 6'10" small forward. Like, that's the real thing the guy's got going for him, is he is a 6'10" player at a position where height does matter quite a lot. So yeah, I think in general a good player in Smith, but I mean, if you're looking for a player to just completely carry the team, he's probably not him. He's just kind of a cone player. John Stockton, he was alright for a stage, but he's not as good as IT, so I'm going to put him in D tier. He was alright. He really was alright for a stage. And he would be higher in a point guard tier list and a budget card tier list, but he's D. Isaac, look, I don't think Isaac's better than Gordon. I think Isaac's brilliant, and I cannot believe I'm putting Isaac has gone to C tier, but if you're asking me who do I prefer, Jonathan Isaac or Jeff Green 10 times out of 10. Who do I prefer, Jonathan Isaac or Miles? It's Darius Miles. Who do I prefer, Isaac or Aaron Gordon? It's probably Gordon. So I gotta go B tier from Giddy. Purely because he's an easy to get tall point guard, and there's not that many there are not that many 6'8" point guards in the game, 6'7" point guards in the game that are as tall as he is. Look, use Bob Sir over him, use Larry Hughes over him, no question about it, but I gotta go Giddy in A tier because he's like the only player that does what he does. That's achievable for a budget player. Honestly gonna go B tier for this I'll go C tier for this Josh Smith. He's not bad. Again, he's 1,000 MT. He's surprisingly good. Like, Josh Smith's movement is, yeah, I mean, could be better, but at the end of the day, he's a shooter, or he's a mediocre shooter who's a great defender. And while he can't move anywhere near what his diamond can, he's good. But this diamond, no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer S tier player. Absolute no-brainer. He's so freaking good, lads. He's so good. He plays lanes. He shoots. I mean, you could make the argument that he's like. I probably wouldn't argue it, but you can make the argument that he is better than. You can make the argument he's honestly better than Anthony Davis. You can make the argument he's the best power forward in the game. I wouldn't make that argument, but you can. A person could reasonably make that argument and not sound insane that he's the best power forward in the game. Then we got Winslow. I mean, Winslow's C when he's evoed. When Winslow's evoed, he's actually pretty decent. So I'm going to put Winslow into. Yeah, he's going to go into C tier. He's definitely not D tier. He definitely does not belong in D tier. So that's where we're putting him. Oh crap, please tell me the list is there. There we go. Karl Malone. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. Yeah, I'm going to put him in. He's going to be the 13th player in C tier. Gee, screw it. Screw it, I'm going to have to put him in this tier. Aren't I? He's a lot better than he's a lot better in C tier. He is a lot better in C tier. So yeah, we're going to put him in B. B right now. And yeah, I think that's a fair spot to put him in. He's solid. He's really solid. Kawhi. I'm going to put Kawhi in C tier. I'm surprisingly not that low on Kawhi. Like, actually, screw it. Kawhi's going to go B tier. I really like this Kawhi. Like, I was a huge fan of this Kawhi when he came out at the start. I thought he was a brilliant card. And I think as the years gone on, I think he's obviously nowhere near as good now as he was back then, but I think he's fine. I think he's more than fine as a card. I mean, I think if you still had to use him today, you would have a chance. I mean, I think you would really struggle. I think he would maybe struggle to do anything except catch and shoot, but you still have a chance. Kemba, I'm going to have to put Kemba in B tier because he can still create with the best of them. Like, he's still, in terms of just purely being a creating point guard, he's nice. Like, again, with Kemba, movement, like, immaculate. The only problem with Kemba Walker, again, is that he's just small and plays no defense. But I think B's probably fine. Korver, you know, C tier for Korver. I never liked this guy. I know some people are really high on him. Whenever I do my rate my team videos, there are a couple of guys like really good teams that are just swear by Kyle Korver. And I don't know, he's got 70 on quick, so like, it's understandable. If somebody feels like Korver really is the best, I could kind of understand it, but I also kind of don't. But yeah, he's gonna go there. Kuz going on A tier, especially with his Evo. Kuzma's really good with that Evo. Is he a perfect card? No. But his rebounding gets better. He doesn't come with clamps, but again, it doesn't matter too much. His defense is solid. Rebounding's really good. And he hits jumpers. Larry Hughes. Now this is, again, no-brainer. No-brainer for Larry Hughes. The guy is S tier. And do not even question it. Do not even question it. He is the most obvious S tier inclusion on this entire list is Larry Hughes. He shoots the ball at an unbelievably good rate. His release is nice. Well, he shoots when he's wide open. But his defense, he may be the best defense point guard in the game. Like, he's probably better on defense than... well, purely just on defense. Not better overall than Peyton, because I do think Peyton's still better on offense. But he might be better on defense than Peyton. And, like... And I'm not talking about Pink Don Peyton, because he's most definitely better on defense than Pink Don Peyton. I'm talking about Dark Matter Peyton. He might be better on defense than the first and, as of right now, only Dark Matter in the game, who is a defensive specialist, which just sums up how good Larry Hughes is. Like, I think an argument can genuinely be made that he's the best point guard in the game. I don't think I'd make that, like, I don't think I'd say he's better than Peyton, but I think if you said that you believe that Larry Hughes is better than Gary Payton, again, I don't think that that's a crazy statement. I think most people wouldn't make that argument, but I don't think it's crazy. Then we got Marcus Smart. I can't believe I'm going to have to put Marcus Smart in A. Like, he's gone down in price. He's still so good. It's just the cards we have now are better. That's the problem, is that we've just gotten so many cards that are just better than Marcus Smart that it's tough right now anyway to argue Marcus Smart is an S tier player. I mean, if you compare him to Byron Scott, is he better than Byron Scott? I don't know. I really don't know. So, yeah, I think A tier is the right spot for him. Jordan. I know C tier for Jordan. Jordan's not terrible. He just doesn't play offense. Like, he's actually a pretty good defender. And, like, I know there are definitely people out there that are going to argue that Michael Jordan should be higher than this tier. That, like, it's ridiculous putting him in C tier with some of the guys that are in this tier. But I think in general, that's probably where he belongs. It's probably where he belongs. Like, if he wasn't named Michael Jordan, I don't think anyone would use the guy. So I think it's probably fair to put him in C. It's probably fair to put him in C. We got Mike Miller. Mike Miller's going to go A tier. Now, this is the controversial one, because I know a lot of people prefer Miller to Buddy Hield. I just don't. I had Miller. Heck, when I had Miller, Miller was cheaper than Buddy Hield. So even I could have tactically downgraded to keep Miller, but no, I just think Buddy's way better. I just think that 22 release is slow. I don't know why I'm Mike Miller. I don't mind base 22 on most players, but it's on Chris Webber, Chris Mullen, Mike Miller, and one or two others that I just find it so slow on. Miller is one of them. He's not a bad player. He's a 6'8" long 2-guard. I believe me, he should be an S tier, but for me, he's just not. Nikola Jokic. he's not worthless. He's not good either. I would not use him. Okay, let's fill out. Are there any more worthless players here? I didn't put Mirrorsan on the list. I would have put Mirrorsan on worthless. Pierce. Pierce really stinks. Like, Pierce with the duo for Avery Bradley, that might keep him off worthless, but Pierce is terrible. Like, it's a weird... Pierce is nowhere near as bad as people said, but he's not good. Nah, screw it. Pierce is so much better than... Like, these two are so much worse than everybody else. Like, there's no even debate. These guys are so much worse. Like, it's not even funny how much worse they are than everybody else. So, yeah, we're going to put these two guys into worthless tier, and they're going to be the only ones. Obi Toppin. He does... Like, Obi Toppin versus Aaron Gordon's an interesting one, because I think they're very similar cards. So, I'm going to go B. I think they're too similar to having different tiers. Big O. B. He's just a pink diamond Oscar Robertson, the same card. Like, I know he only has one half badge, but he's 6'5", long wingspan. Surprisingly not a terrible release. He's not the greatest release in the world. Surprisingly not terrible. So, we're going to put him in. We're going to put him in B tier. We're going to put him in B tier, like... Again, there are players with flaws, but... I mean, he does have flaw. He's a player with flaws, but I think B tier is fine. He's tall. I'm going to put C tier for Otto Porter. I think Otto Porter stinks. I just really want to make this clear. Otto Porter is terrible. So for me, the fact that I don't have Otto Porter in worthless tier is a testament to, like, I think he's terrible. I really think he sucks. So, look, let me put him there. We got Paul Arzen. Paul Arzen's going to go C tier. So, yeah, for Paul Arzen being in C tier, I think that's a fair spot for him. So I know a lot of people would have him. Like, when he's badged up, you could argue him being higher. But the badge, he needs so many really expensive badges. Like, the expensive badges that he needs are ridiculously expensive to get. Like, he needs, like, range, chef. He doesn't come with a lot of good base badges. He moves well, though he shoots the ball well. So, yeah, I'm going to have him in C tier. Penny Hardaway should not be on his list. He's not a budget player. I don't know why he's here. So, yeah, he's not budget. I'm going to have C tier for Rex Chapman. I mean, he's fine. As far as players go, Rex Chapman's fine in this game. I think that's probably the best way to describe Rex Chapman. Fine. We got Sadiq Bey. Sadiq Bey is going to go into... not worthless here. B tier. He has everything fine. Like, a lot of these guys, they're just so mediocre. They're just so mediocre. They just do everything at a mediocre rate. And for that reason, I'm going to put him there. Scotty Barnes. I don't like Scotty Barnes. I'm putting him in C tier. I think Scotty Barnes belongs in... He belongs C tier. Does not belong any higher than C tier. So, that's where he's going. Scottie Pippen, A, maybe S. Scotty's a brilliant, brilliant player. So I'm going to go for A tier for Scotty. But at the same time, this is one of those, if you want to put him in S tier, I'm not going to complain. So, yeah, so Scotty, you're going to A tier for now. Defensively, again, one of the best players in the game on that end of the floor. If not the best player. Serge, S. Serge is an S tier player, is an S tier point guard. Heck, you maybe can argue that Serge is an S tier overall player. And again, I think there are people that would argue that. So, yeah, Serge, you're going into S tier here. So, any other... Steven Jackson, he should be... I'm putting him in B tier. I don't like him. And I don't know why I don't like him. Because he should be as good as Rudy Gay. Like, he's literally just Rudy Gay. Except, he's got a shorter wingspan. If you give him quick first step, he should just be Rudy Gay. But I don't know what it is. I've used him. I hate him. There's no reason for me to hate him. Screw it. Rudy Gay's probably is close to S tier overall, so I'm going to put him in A tier, but I don't know why, but I hate him. I just want to make that clear. Like, I do not know why I hate Steven Jackson, because he should be good. He really, really should be a good card. He's just not. He's just not good for me, so yeah, I'll go A tier maybe? Again, some people are going to put him in S tier, which is fine. Some people are going to put him in B tier, which is fine. Taco, he's just cheese. He's just cheese. Like, these guys are hard to they are hard to quantify because he's just cheese. Like, Taco's just 7'6" with a long wingspan. He's just going to paint mash people. But at the same time, that is the meta. That is the meta of my team right now, is paint mashing. So I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm going to have to put him into A. Because, he is Mash Man. But really, I think that's the best I can do. Terrence Mann C tier. I don't get what the hype is with this card. I've used him a few times. I do not understand the hype. He is so average. He's so freaking average. Like, when it comes to shooting, he's fine. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, he's fine when it comes to shooting. He's fine when it comes to rebounding. He's fine when it comes to dribbling. The only problem is he's not brilliant at anything. He's just fine. I don't understand where the hype is. I'll go C tier for him. He's got a good release. But that's as far as I'm willing to go with him. Good release. It's as far as I'm willing to go. I just don't think he's Thaddeus Young is a good card. I think C tier is the right spot for him. Thon Maker, I'm going to go B tier for Thon. I think he moves. He moves, which is one thing that a lot of people don't do, is move in this game. So I think that's probably the most fair place to put him, is in B tier. As a center, he's not going to do a lot of center things well, if you get me. Like, as in, he's not going to rebound particularly well. He's not going to be a strong presence in there, but he's going to be like a stretch big. Trae Young's are going to go, I'll go B and B. Like, I think he can do a job. I think, again, he can do a job if you need him, but I'm going to go B and C. I'm going to put this one in C because he's not as good as the glitch. I'm going to put him in C. So these last players here, yeah, there are none of these that are brilliant. I think Oladipo's A. I think Oladipo is basically Dwayne Wade without point guard eligibility. I think he's fantastic. The rest of these guys, Ariza B. Ariza's big. I think shoot the ball. Surprisingly not a bad player. Vince Carter, C. Not terrible. Doesn't do anything particularly well. Walter Davis, low C tier. Kind of similar to Vince. Wes Unseld's going to go B. I know, badged up Wes Unseld's A tier. Problem is, it's a budget tier list, and he doesn't have any of the badges, so yeah, I'm going to go B tier for him off rip. Wesley Matthews, if he was taller than 6'4", or if he had range extender, he would be probably B tier, but he's not, so he's C tier. Zebo. Oh, Zebo's a card I forgot about. So Wong GG is going to go B tier as well. A really solid center, kind of just a worse version of Jared Banyani. But Zach Randolph, he's a bully. He's basically... Zach Randolph's A tier. Like, if you can just back people down and paint mash, Randolph can actually be really, really effective. So, for me, I think Zebo, surprisingly enough, I think Zebo is going to go A tier. So anyway, yeah, that is the video. Honestly, for so many of these cards, they're just solid. Like, it's hard to explain when a card is just solid. Like the strengths and weaknesses when they just do everything well. So we have got 10 people here, and I'm going to try to make a best 10. I want this all to be done by position. So we got our point guards, we got our 2 guards, we've got a small forward, we've got 2 centers and 3 power forwards. So one player is going to have to move down. So Serge is going to go center. He's going to move down. Move one player to play small forward. And we're going to move. A lot of people are going to probably ask for Mike Miller. I prefer Scotty. If you prefer Mike Miller, move him up, but I prefer Scotty. So this is what we have. We've got Larry Hughes and Sir as our point guards. Buddy and Jalen as our 2 guards. Scotty and Darius Miles as our small forwards. You got Draymond, Josh Green as our power forwards. And Ibaka and Ayton as our centers. So I'm happy with that 10. So yeah, that is the tier list. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.